What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels Podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined this week by Micah.
Hey.
Carrie.
What's up?
And now that he has internet that is appropriate for the year of our Lord 2019.
It's actually probably inappropriate.
It is excessive.
Needs speed in that boy.
Yeah, no one needs gigabit speed. Terrence is back, guys.
Yeah, I am. How's it going? I've been going for like 6 years, so. And I don't have anything new to say, to be honest with you. Because I haven't been playing anything because
that is not true.
The industry is annoying.
That is not true. You are a liar, sir. You have played,
I played
Outer Worlds. Yeah.
Yes, I have played the Outer Worlds.
So Carrie and Micah talked about Outer Worlds. I mean, let's just get right into it. Carrie and Micah talked about Outer Worlds last week. They gave their thoughts. Carrie's finished the game, but Terrence, I'm first curious to hear your thoughts on the Outer Worlds.
I really like it. I like it a lot. I played Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4. New Vegas being the best out of all of them. This is like that because it's that company, Obsidian. But the thing about this one is, like, Fallout is just like an open world, and you get lost, and sometimes you just get frustrated, and I don't know. A lot of times, I start doing way too much. But this game is so focused, like each level is like a compact, large, open area to search through. And essentially, once you've searched through the level, there's no reason to keep searching. You can just move on to the next level. And I think that's the one thing that you would actually like, Brad, because it's not an open. Like you said last week, it's like the vastness of these games that just kind of turns you off. But yeah, the levels can be a little bit big, but they're not so big that you get lost. It's like it's impossible to get lost in them.
Well, like I mentioned last week, from everything I've heard, it sems like it's an open world game in the way that EA thinks of open worlds.
Yeah, it's like Mass Effect.
Yeah, same thing.
The writing is great. There was one instance in the very beginning that I know you finished it, Carrie, and in the beginning you have to make that one decision, which is like a pretty big decision in the very beginning of the game. Well, of course, I'm not an asshole, so I went with the settlement, and I go back. I don't put all of my points into persuasion and all that. So when I went back to talk to the guy that gave you the initial mission, I'm like, hey, I did all of this so I could liberate you guys. Like, nigga, I ain't want you to liberate me, essentially. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he made me feel bad about it, but he works for the corporation. I was like, sorry, bro.
Yeah, there's it's one of those things where like the writing is so good, like there's no one right decision. Like everything's sort of morally gray.
Right, and it's funny because it's either this or that, but the way they wrote it is kind of like, shit. Did I do the right thing? And yeah, I still feel like I did the right thing. Fuck you, because when I went to go get the little thing for my ship, he had people attack me, and I'm like, well, I had to kill them, and then I put a bullet in his head. So whatever. But
as you do.
I just got Nayoka. First of all, Parvati. She's always with me. She's with me.
Parvati's excellent.
Everything. I haven't switched her out. I've like picked another person, but she's always been her, and then whoever the fuck else I got. I just got Nayoka, so it's me and her. It's the three women right now.
Yeah. I mean,
I did use who's the guy that drop kicks people? What's his name?
Felix.
Yeah, he's funny. Like when you're with him, he just is like, you want me to beat him up? Like, nah, relax, nigga. Like,
Felix is delightful. You're just like, can you calm down?
Yeah,
he's relax for a minute.
Like the character, I love all the characters, even Vicar Max, like the shotgun preacher. Is basically what he is. The robot is funny. Sam, it's just a really solid game, and the fact that this is coming from Obsidian and it has no bugs is impressive.
Well, that's not true.
Well, I don't know. I haven't run into
any, but I know there are some that are apparent, and some of them will like basically soft lock you out of the game if they present. So
all systems? Or is it...
I think I've heard it happening most on PC, but I'm not sure.
He always has problems. But for the most part, like I think I'm at like 15 hours into the game. It's just fun. It's just a great game. And Bethesda, all right, nigga.
I mean, look.
I don't know what y'all doing. I didn't know we were going to get into it, but good lord,
there is yet another Bethesda Fallout 76 related story in the docket this week.
Yeah,
so we're just gonna We're just gonna keep going.
Carrie, like I would if you like these type of games, I highly recommend you play it because it's a really good game.
And Carrie, do you have any spoiler-free abridged thoughts now that you finished the game?
I basically, like, I was surprised at how short it ended up being, obviously because of the decisions that you can make over the course of the game. It does have some of that replay value, and I might go back a couple months or whatever, since it's not like I'm starving for gaming content at this time of year, and revisit it and do things the other way. The one thing I sort of regret is that at the end, in sort of true Fallout style game fashion, if your charisma style points, like your persuasion, your intimidation, and your lying and whatnot, if that's high enough, you can sort of talk your way out of the final boss fight, basically. And my problem was that when I got to this area called Byzantium, I fucking killed a lot of people, including the person who you would otherwise talk to at the end of the game. So basically, it's like that fucking Danny DeVito meme of like, so anyway, I started blasting. Because it's like, I got there and someone was being like a real fucking hoity-toity, snobby white person, so I put a bullet in her head, and they don't care for that. So
I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah. So
right, the fact that you can just kill anyone.
The fact that you can kill any quest giver, yeah. So it's like I get to the end and like you talk to the chairman of the board, because the game is programmed to like replace people in certain situations if you've killed the person who would otherwise do that. Like it just like slots someone else into there with different dialogue, which is honestly an incredible feat of programming in the grand scheme of things. But the guy was like, I like was trying to talk my way out of it, and he was like, you know what? She was way more amenable to discussion than I was. Fuck you. And he just like sends this shit after you. And I was just like, I put so much time boosting up my persuasion skills for this shit. What did I do? So, I fucked up a little bit at the end, but the game's really fun. I guess again, I finished it in like 18 hours or something like that, and I was hoping it would be closer to like 30.
Well, but
that being said, I did eliminate
your way
some
out of a
the
bunch
side
of quests,
stuff for myself by going into Byzantium and killing people.
So you just kind of bypass it, because
I bypassed a lot of shit accidentally because I got mad at like one very specific NPC.
Oh goddamn!
Yeah, as you do.
There's some old chick that like she just came on to me and
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, all right, woman, relax, calm down.
So other than that, I haven't had a lot of time for video games because this last week the Nationals won the World Series. They did it, guys.
You sound like you definitely attended that parade on Saturday.
I did. I mean, I've been dealing with a cold for like the last week anyway, but I didn't lose my voice until Saturday happened. Yeah, God, there's nothing better than a victory parade, man. Like, I would say the Caps parade last year was definitely like, there were probably more people there, and it was definitely a rowdier crowd than the Nats parade. I think the fact that the Caps draw more from Baltimore than the Nats do probably has a lot to do with that. Also, the fact that the Caps parade was in June, and the Nats parade was in November, so it was kind of cold. But it was cool. I mean, fuck, man, I got to watch my dad ride in a World Series victory parade at the end of his career. Like,
that's dope.
Yeah, it's super fucking cool, man. Like, that was awesome. That was awesome. What happened today was less awesome, but that was awesome. So
yeah, like I said, I posted it in the Look Forward fan group. But if you're a fan of professional sports teams or many, go out of your way to avoid learning about your players' personal politics, because it usually never ends well.
No, it just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Kurt Suzuki could get hit by a truck, and I probably wouldn't give a shit at this point.
It happened to me last year. Even rooting for an English sports team with players that come from all over the world, you can't escape it when one of your players is a huge Bolsonaro stan
bigot
for some reason.
Kurt Suzuki.
Kurt Suzuki, who is a Japanese person. Let me reiterate: a Japanese person put a fucking MAGA hat on at the Nats celebration at the White House today.
Oh, and Terrence let Trump like grope him from behind like he was fondling some
real weird.
That's gross.
Yeah. I hope Kurt Suzuki understands that wearing that hat isn't going to make the old white people who are racist like him anymore.
I suppose
he doesn't care with the amount of money that he makes. He's making $6 million next year. So
I was a little more put off about the carefree nature to which he and Donald Trump joked about sexual assault, but that's just me.
Wow.
So
they're the model minority.
I was exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah,
like that's what they consider the model, but whatever.
So the Nats Fan Fest, they call it Winterfest, is happening in January, and I can't imagine we'll be seeing Kurt Suzuki there. So
there you go.
It's really like, God, can you fucking read the room, man? Like, because I was there at Game 5 and they booed the shit out of him. Like,
right. That's the thing that's even funnier about it is like he was in the stadium.
He was
to
there.
Hear that.
He was physically present when it happened. But whatever. My team won the World Series, and I just think that's neat.
Look, I hope he and the rest of the team enjoyed their Big Macs yesterday. Or today rather.
After the kind of shit they got up to at the Caps game, there's no better hangover food, right?
So now, Micah, I didn't know you. Wait, did I give this to you?
No, you did not.
Okay, so I didn't know you bought this.
Yes.
And I'm curious because your and my tastes in Japanese RPGs have a pretty large overlap. Mm-hmm. You like stuff that's more on the outer edge than I do, but for the most part, we like a lot of the same things. And and I've always found the Dragon Age series to be
Quest.
Sorry, you're right. Dragon Quest series. My apologies. To be lacking personality. So let me know why you're playing Dragon Quest XI.
I bought it on the Switch for one, because the Switch is my indie darling RPG machine, / RPG machine, and I don't know why I bought it because I'm kind of like I'm not a huge fan of Akira Toriyama's art style.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You don't really like the Dragon Ball art style.
I don't hate it, but
right,
I'm not in love with it.
It is a very specific flavor of manga.
Yeah. And I think just the world of Dragon Ball coupled with that, like, I don't know, it's just something about it. But I was like, all right, well, I need something to play on the plane because I'm getting ready to take a trip, right? So I said, all right, well, let me get this, right? Because it's a turn-based RPG. And I love traditional turn-based RPGs. And when I first started playing, I haven't played a Dragon Quest since Dragon Quest VIII.
That was the only one I ever played.
Right, and that was the first one I played.
Right.
So I started playing it, and I got into a battle, and everybody was moving independently. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are you moving without, me telling you what to do? And so I had to tweak a couple settings because otherwise, they can fight on autonomously. I like it. I like it enough that I'm interested in the story. You play the hero who's nameless, so I name him after my kid because that's what you
cute.
Do. And you are the legendary luminary, right? So you go off and you go to this kingdom to meet with this king, and you're like, hey, I'm the legendary luminary. And the king was like, great, throw his ass in the dungeon.
so you got a real Chrono Trigger situation brewing here.
Right. So you're on, and now I'm on the run. and I meet up with people, and we have to figure stuff out. And I'm interested in the story. Is the bottom line. Look, it's a traditional turn-based RPG, and I love that. That's my bag. It has, like limit breaks, so to speak, but you can't tell when you're about to get a limit break. Like they just kind of happen, and there are certain things you can do to get that to happen more often. But I dig it. It's it feels like a grindy RPG. But
I mean, that's what Dragon Quest is known for.
I was about to say 8. I
Right.
remember just grinding for hours in that fucking.
Yeah.
When I was
So they have this thing where you can adjust the speed of battle. So I put everything on ultra, and if I'm just grinding, I can set tactics for my party members to fight the way I want them to fight, and that kind of helps the grind a little bit. Like if I'm at work or something, I'll just run around and run into enemies, and then just automatically have those guys, fight, fucking shit mobs for cheap XP and a little bit of gold or whatever. So, but it's a good game. I really like it. I like it a lot. It kind of makes me want to go and take a look at some of the other Dragon Quests, but I'm not gonna do that.
you know where I erred with Dragon Quest? The first one that I ever played, more like I played like Dragon Warrior 4 for like 5 minutes when I was a kid, but the first one that I ever sat down and played at length was 9. And I can't.
9's a weird one.
Yeah, because like your player character is the only character that has any involvement in the story, because literally all of your other party members are just mercenaries that you hire to help you along the way. And I thought that was super duper weird.
That's strange.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I liked 9. I played the crap out of 9, but I understand why people didn't like 9.
Yeah.
Particularly coming off of 8, which is, for all intents and purposes, a really fucking good game. So it's nice to hear that 11 is quite good.
It is, and it has one last point. It has this two-dimensional mode, 2D mode, where it's essentially,
it's all pixels.
Yeah, it's just pixelated. Like you can play the whole game in a 16-bit format if you want.
Yeah, that's cute as hell.
Yeah.
So that is what we have been playing this week. Carrie, if you'd be so kind, tell us what is coming out this week in stores and online.
This is my job now. Sure. So the biggest of the week by far is Hideo Kojima's Boyfriend Simulator, more colloquially known as Death Stranding.
Can we pause on this real quick?
Yeah, please.
Have you guys been reading the reviews for this game?
I have.
They've been all over the place.
They have been all over the place. Yes.
All of them seem to have a common theme. The theme being that the game is not fun. But it's so different that it's brilliant.
Quick aside.
I hate
what
it.
the fuck does that mean?
I hate the fact that they just can't call something whack. Like, no, it's whack, yo. It's whack.
Like I've really appreciated the few reviews out there that have just been like,
nah, this shit boring.
Yo, it's whack. Like, it sucks. Like
IGN is usually like, but I watched and I read the review, and he's like, look, it's Kojima. Like, you're gonna get Kojima's nonsense, but this shit just boring, yo. Like, they give it a 6.8, but it's like, look, it's a slog. And every review has said the first 10 hours are horrible.
And I'm like, nigga, would anyone do anything for 10 hours? 10 hours.
I'm not doing
10.
That.
That's a 1 and then a 0. That's 2 double digits. 10 fucking hours of bullshit in order to get to anything that remotely resembles something that's fun. Nah.
No, they say like the game never really like, again, another theme is like the game never really gets fun. But like it's such a different experience. Like it's him, and I'm like, no, fuck you, yo.
No.
I'm not paying $60 to slog through 10 hours of just garbage just to get to mediocre.
Right.
So and then there are some cutscenes that exceed an hour in length. I'm like,
Just
no,
make a fucking
no,
movie.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Are you getting this? You wouldn't by chance be getting a copy of this, would you, Brad?
I would by chance be getting a copy of this. Not only am I getting a copy of this, I'm getting a copy of this that we can pass around because I'm getting the collector's edition complete with baby in a tank version of this game.
Can I yeet that baby somewhere?
Like I'm
Look.
Well,
Brad,
here's
full stop. If you hand me that baby, I am yeeting that baby into your neighbor's yard.
So a couple things.
Don't need it.
Couple things. Number one, you will get our thoughts on this game. But it's going to take some time because, like I said, we're going to pass this around. We're going to pass around the Death Stranding because I don't want to have to force any of the three of you to purchase this game. But I feel like that a couple of you
give it to me, I will absolutely play it.
Right, a couple of you, I feel like want to experience it.
Actually, try.
Right. So there you go. There. I want to point out. So I clicked. I wanted to find the Metacritic score. I googled Metacritic, and the first result that popped up was Metacritic Death Stranding. So apparently, people are looking for that right now.
The last I saw was an 84.
85 is what it's gone up to now. Now here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Stop touching Kojima's dick.
Here's the thing. There are 63 positive reviews. Now, to be considered a positive review on Metacritic, you have to give a game higher than a 75. 75 or higher, and it's considered positive. Now, the vast majority of outlets that gave it a positive review are smaller blogs that we've not heard of. Not to say their opinions diminish, but the heavy hitters are usually the ones that are giving like the middling reviews. Like US Gamer is a 70, Game Informer is a 70, Digital Trends is a 70, IGN is a 68 because IGN still wants to use a 100-point scale. Fine. VG247 is a 60. So there's a lot. VGC. Did someone steal the VG Confab name? I don't know. We're not going to worry about that right now. And then there's a lot of reviews that from sites that, like the Polygon review was not overwhelmingly complimentary, but they don't score. Neither does Ars Technica, neither does Eurogamer, neither does Kotaku, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of the sites that levied fair criticism to the game aren't contributing to the score. Let's take a look at the user reviews for the game. So the user, well, actually, no, they wouldn't have user reviews yet because the game's not out yet. Yeah, so that'll be very interesting to see, I think, when it drops. What a fascinating game! What a fascinating response to this.
Fascinating.
Game. So, the response to the game, not the game itself yet. I don't know. I haven't played it, so.
And it's interesting that everything that he showed us pre the game being released to like the review copies that's it. That's literally it. Like you put boxes on your back and then you walk.
It's funny. So I listened to the kind of funny games cast where they reviewed this game. 5 of them at the table played it, and literally amongst the 5 of them, it runs the entire spectrum of Greg Miller loved it. Imran Khan played the game but didn't love it. Tim Geddes played like 5 hours and was like, I'm done. I'm not done. I'm not fucking playing this game. like one of them was playing it, slowly and like he was at 40 hours in, but only in chapter 3 of like 14 chapters in the game or something like that.
Oh my God.
So if you want a good sense of that before the game comes out, I guess I would recommend listening to that podcast to kind of get a sense.
That game is certainly not for everyone.
No, it's not going to be.
You know what is a game for everyone though? Just Dance 2020, which comes out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and the Wii.
What?
Yep. In the year of our Lord 2K19, we are still getting original Wii titles because Just Dance is remarkably popular. They still put it out on the Wii every single year, and it still sells. Apparently, well enough for them to keep doing this.
Like the
I also
original
have to imagine.
Wii.
Yeah.
Yes, the original Wii. So it's on the Wii and on the Switch. It is not on the Wii U.
No.
It is on the original Wii.
Yes.
Yes.
Christ, all right.
A nearly 15-year-old console. They're still.
God, is it? Oh Lord, it is. It's
Yeah.
like 13 years old.
I am fucking old.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yup. So I think that just has to do, like, a lot of places that do like physical therapy and whatnot have Wii's, and they use this for that. Anyway, in other Nintendo news, we're getting Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 for the Switch. Is that a Summer Olympics?
It is, yes.
Yep.
Then why is
That's
this
this
game
year.
coming out now?
Because they always
this
put it
year.
out well in advance. It's
Alright.
yeah.
Disney Tsum Tsum Festival comes out on the Switch. Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition arrives on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Layton's Mystery Journey, Catriel and the Millionaire's Conspiracy comes out on the Switch. That sounds distinctly anti-capitalist, and I'm about it. Need for Speed Heat comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Paul's there for a second. I
Sure.
can't wait till next week's episode. I cannot wait to see if Micah is going to buy this game or not.
Oh well, I'm not going to be here next week.
Oh, son of
Because
a
you'll be
bitch.
busy playing Nerd for Spurred.
No, I'll be in Jamaica. But
Oh,
to answer
goddamn.
to answer your question, Brad, yes, I have purchased it. So,
Wow.
so you'll have to wait 2 weeks.
I will wait because your review of the game is going to be contingent on whether or not I purchase Need for Speed Heat.
Goodness. New Super Lucky's Tale comes out on Switch. I guess a sequel to Super Lucky.
Oh,
Wasn't that like an Xbox One
It's
exclusive?
that's not a sequel, Carrie. That is Super Lucky's Tale coming to the Nintendo
Oh.
Switch. They're just calling it New Super Lucky's Tale because no one bought the original Super Lucky's Tale, so they figured
Yeah.
they might as well brand it
Okay.
in a cool package.
And after many, many, many years, Romancing Saga 3 finally gets an official Western release on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Vita, apparently.
Neat.
Yeah.
It's
For
a-
the 7.5 of you who still have a Vita that you play. Games with gold for Xbox this month. We're starting off with Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. All right. So that's available from the 1st of the month through the 30th. And then we've got The Final Station. Again, I don't know what that is.
it
For the
looks-
back half of the
apparently,
month on Xbox One.
Apparently, it looks like some sort of swarthy secret agent and train engineer game.
yeah, on a ghost train. Maybe this is the story of the ghost train from Final Fantasy VI.
Ah, can you
yeah.
suplex it? 'Cause if you
I hope
can't-
so, because if not, then why bother even playing it?
Right. Also on Xbox One and Xbox 360, you'll be able to get Star Wars Jedi Starfighter and then Joyride Turbo. We're getting really high quality stuff here, guys. Also, until the 15th, you can still download Friday the 13th, the game, which is left over from October. PS Plus games this month. I guess that's pronounced Nio.
Neo.
Neo.
I have that. So that
Which
doesn't
is
do me any good. I have the definitive edition, or whatever the hell you call it.
yeah.
It's a very
Uh,
difficult game, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
that's sort of
Dark
what I heard
Souls.
was that it was Dark Souls-ish as far as difficulty was concerned. And if you like that spoopy shit, you can get Outlast.
That probably would have been more fitting had they put that out last month.
You would,
but-
Yeah,
you
right?
would think so.
You would think so.
You would think so, but apparently they wanted to get 2 horror games out. But I guess the Last of Us news forced them to maybe bump Outlast 2 to November. Maybe
Yeah,
they did
I mean,
plan
so
it.
Last of Us Remastered and MLB The Show were last month so that you could enjoy the visceral horror of playing as Bryce Harper on a middling Phillies team. I will take any
Oh.
opportunity to take a pot shot at Bryce Harper.
that was a sick burn, bro.
If you would like to see Carrie take pot shots at Bryce Harper, go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe for new clips every week. While you're there, go to densepixels.com/premium to go and take advantage of all of the TNP premium offerings. For $5 a month or $50 for the full year, you get access to a premium slate of podcasts and casts, including the airing of grievances, our Seinfeld podcast, No Time to Bleed, which I guess is coming back soon, our action movie review podcast, the Crown Jewel. Oh no, I can't say.
Yeah, don't use that term. No, you might get stuck in Jamaica if you do.
Wow.
The keystone.
Okay.
Of the premium offerings, the Men with the Golden Tongues, Brad and I's spy movie podcast, and brand new full episodes of Look Forward, the political podcast featuring Jay and whatever random white man happens to be. Subscribe to all the TNP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, including The Nerdpocalypse, our flagship show, which is like this, except we talk about everything but video games. Black on Black Cinema. I think we have a preview episode coming out, which means last week's episode was all about Candyman, featuring Tony Todd as the titular slave artist turned project killer.
Boogeyman. Yeah. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, sure it is.
Cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale for because Carrie has not been spouting the gospel at her meetings.
Wait, what?
I'll tell you later. Coming Distractions, our movie review podcast.
Don't be mean to me.
Most recently,
I'm the best white person you got on this network.
Hey.
You might be the only white.
Go ahead.
I respect.
Wow.
Coming Distractions, our movie review podcast. Most recently, we reviewed Terminator Dark Fate, which is a big bowl of okay.
So it's a Terminator film, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Why did you break? Goddammit, you shut your mouth.
No, they were. Sorry, it's a Terminator film after 1991. You say?
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
And Jay and Terrence, the
black women hating niggas, apparently in the crew.
in the group, just reviewed Harriet, the new Harriet Tubman superhero movie.
It really does look that way from the previews. I'm sorry, you're absolutely right.
And you get the weekly preview episode of Look Forward, which is 1 hour, just to tantalize the taste buds. And so yes, that was longer than I thought it would be, but give us money and we will give you stuff in return.
That might have been the most off the rails ad read that we've ever done on the show. And we used to do the fucking earbud ad reads as well, where we wrote scripts and everything too. So that's a high bar to clear. Before we get into news, just a reminder, we talked about it last week, but because the Nationals had to go and win themselves a World Series, Carrie's Extra Life live stream is happening on November 9th instead of
this Saturday.
Last Saturday like it was supposed to. So you still have time to give her money.
Yes, please give.
Yeah.
Well, you're not giving me money.
That's
you're
true,
giving money to sick kids. None of this ever touches my bank account. Though if you want to give me money, I would not turn it down because I am a poor millennial. So this Saturday I'm probably going to start around noon Eastern time and then go until midnight and then probably do the same sort of like noon to midnight on Sunday as well. Playing Pokemon Leaf Green. I will be naming all of my Pokemon after different Nationals players. Kurt Suzuki will not be featured.
So details on that in the Dense Pixels fan group, densepixels.com/fans. So news of the week, Call of Duty Modern Warfare has released to great success. It is apparently the most successful Call of Duty game in this console generation, according to 3-day sales. However, it's not doing too great in the user reviews on Metacritic. As of October 28th, it was sitting at a low score of 2.4 out of 10 in the user scale on Metacritic. The reason why this happened though is because it is getting review bombed in Russia because of how it portrays Russian soldiers in the game.
No one tell them about like 80s action movies that were produced over here, right?
Here's
keep them away from Jack Ryan.
No one tell him about the Cold War.
Here's a quote from one of the reviews. Disgusting Russia-phobic garbage created only for one thing, stinking anti-Russian propaganda, writes one reviewer. Quote, which is now pouring out all of the independent media on the orders of their Washington masters. 0 out of 10.
What? I wouldn't even take that seriously.
We did not cover a story that happened a couple weeks ago where Sony declined to make Call of Duty available in the PlayStation Store in Russia. Turns out this is probably why, because I guess that they didn't want all the stink that was going to come along with this. Look, as Micah has said many times, Call of Duty is one of the most jingoistic video games that exists, and I'm not saying that their portrayal of Russia is that out of bounds compared to current events.
I mean, come on,
happened in the past 5 or 6 years.
You interfere with our fucking elections. What the fuck you expect?
They annexed part of a country 5 years ago,
Right, and then you fucking just bombed a goddamn. Yeah, you just took over a country just because. Nigga, like, calm down. You know what you are.
Now, that being said,
this is so I played a little more Call of Duty. This is how bad the Russians are, right? Like in this like gung-ho American game, the Russians invaded the Middle East, and one of the heroes is a Middle Eastern woman. That's how bad the Russians are in this game. Like they make you that like we all know the stereotypical Call of Duty audience, right? Like they're the people with the black and white American flags with the blue stripes on them, right? Like those people, right? They're getting those people to those bigots to play this game and to side with Farah and yeah, man, like the Russians are assholes. They're assholes in this game, and so I got a little further into it, and we were last week we were talking about how I don't really see the violence, and the need for the parental advisory and all that. Yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. It's not like it's not gratuitous. It's not gratuitous violence, but yeah, like the Russians are hanging people in this game, and they are they're committing fucking atrocities. This game takes itself a little too seriously for my liking. I like the old Call of Duty Modern Warfare where we were on fucking speedboats speeding past Ellis Island and the fucking Twin Towers were on fire in New York and we had to swarm up in this mother. Like that's what I'm talking about, right? This is it's good, but it's depressing as fuck, man.
There's one thing in the game that I think people are fairly criticizing. So there's an area in the game called the Highway of Death, which you were told in the game that is the result of a devastating Russian attack that happened decades ago where Russian forces massacred everyone fleeing from a town under siege. However, there's a real Highway of Death in the Gulf, which was the fault apparently of American and Western forces during the Gulf War in Iraq. So that's fair. Like if you're going to take history and literally retcon it for the purposes of your game, right? That's a fair critique. But look, I'm pretty sure that Activision knew exactly what they're getting into, or not Activision, but Infinity Ward knew what they were getting into when they wrote the story of the game. I'm sure that this is not surprising them. And as they say, any press is good press.
Yeah, I saw a clip where you meet up with a guy and he's got a bomb strapped to his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Price is like, "Can you help him? Can you help him?" He's like, I'm trying, but you don't have enough time. So you like
Captain Price is just like,
that nigga say, "Whoop."
Captain Price said,
"Him over a fucking rail," and just like, "Fuck that nigga." I'm sorry.
Captain Price said, "Don't need it."
Right, just flipped him over the rail and he blew up. I'm like, "Oh
like,
well."
God damn.
Jesus Christ. I'm like, so yeah, it seems a little, yeah, and it does take itself seriously. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess.
So, EA has not been publishing their games on Steam for 8 years. Well, that's changing now. Apparently, EA is coming back to Steam, starting with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on November 15th. Later this year, we're also going to get Sims 4 and Unravel 2. And then next year, all of the other EA franchises will be there as well, like Apex Legends, FIFA 20, and Battlefield 5. Now, apparently, Origin is not going away. It's still going to be something that is available. I guess they're just trying to broaden their reach by also publishing on Steam as well.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Now I don't have to worry about Origin.
That's right. You don't. Yeah. Even though you'll probably still have to make an Origin account, I would suppose. So, we'll see about that. But yes, they're back. So if you've been waiting for EA to come back to Steam, today is your day. There's a couple Blizzard stories that are unrelated to BlizzCon that we will talk about real quick here. So first of all, the shit continues to storm around Blizzard. They finally lost one of their first major sponsors as a result of the Blitzchung situation. Mitsubishi Taiwan has pulled their Hearthstone sponsorship after the events that happened. Apparently, as early as October 8th, the sponsorship had gone, or sorry, October 9th, the sponsorship went away. Very quietly, I guess Blizzard didn't really want to publicize that, I suppose. But yeah, so that's a big sponsor that's gone, and not surprising that a Taiwanese sponsor has pulled out from what's going on there. The news, not all bad for Blitzchung, though. He has apparently been signed to professional esports team Tempo Storm, in a move that was meant to, quote, show support at a critical time to a prolific player and an unwavering commitment and advocacy for players and content creators. So that's pretty cool, I'd say. And then finally, oh, that's right. So, and the last one, this did happen at BlizzCon, but it's not really related to the BlizzCon coverage. Li Xiaomeng becomes the first female player to win not only the Hearthstone Grandmasters Championship, but any tournament final that ended in BlizzCon. She beat United States player Brian Eason 3-0 in the finals of the Grandmasters event. Her story is an interesting one because she said 2 years ago, she was waiting in line for signups at a Hearthstone event, and a fellow player told her that it wasn't a place for women. Quote, "It's not for you," he said.
2 years ago? So
yeah.
2017. Okay.
And she says,
Good
quote,
Lord.
"And now I'm here with all the support from the fans. I want to say to all the girls out there who have a dream for esports, for competition, for glory, if you want to do it and you believe in yourself, you should forget your gender and go for it."
Boy, I mean, like,
Or embrace
like,
your
wow.
gender and go for it and tell every man on earth to eat shit and die.
Like, this is no place for women. Like, nigga, this is
It's
not
a fucking
1952.
digital
What
card
are you
game, you
talking about?
dumb fuck.
That's so weird.
Men are not better at card games than women.
I mean, look, she dunked on everybody else, so
Good.
for her. Very, very cool that happened. Speaking of shitstorms that just will not cease,
Well,
Fallout 76, an Australian commission has determined that buyers of the game from November 24th, 2018 through June 1st, 2019 in Australia can request a refund for the game if they so choose. Here's a quote from the commission. "When a consumer has purchased a product that has a fault which amounts to a major failure, the Australian consumer law provides them with the right to ask for their choice of either a repair, replacement, or refund."
looks like
if you
Bethesda's
bought a
about to owe a lot of people a lot of dollary dues.
That's a goddamn shame, man. That's a fucking shame. Yo, Bethesda has, like, they have no remorse about this either.
No,
just
because you
don't
know
give-
what? They're going to drop Elder Scrolls 6 and it's going to be incredible and everyone's going to forget about this.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it? You
Mhm.
sure about that?
I kind of am.
Okay.
I mean, if what we saw at BlizzCon was any indication of people's very fickle nature when it comes to atrocities and new video games, I say Carrie's 100% right.
Yeah.
Said
No,
more-
I'm saying they're going to drop that game, but is the game going to be amazing?
Elder
I
Scrolls
think so.
6? Yeah.
It better be
I think
now.
so. Yeah.
It better be fucking great. They better
Yeah.
do it different. Or they better fucking tweak that
If
creation.
it's not, but I think it will be.
On Starfield or whatever the fuck the other game they have coming out that's not coming out for another 6 years that they've been talking about forever.
My other favorite quote here is that according to the committee, ZeniMax acknowledged that its customer service representatives, quote, are likely to have misled certain Australian consumers about their rights to a refund when they experience faults with their Fallout 76 game. Never a good sign. So
Jesus.
But yeah, so there's the upside, I guess, of having like a supremely regulatory state, which Australia most definitely is that corporations definitely get held to account when they fuck about. But yeah, so like I can't put it better than Carrie put it. A lot of Australians are going to be getting a lot of dollary dues.
How big is the gaming community in Australia? Like,
I mean,
how much
it's
money?
sizable. I mean,
doesn't Australia get like games like 6 months after everyone else gets them because they have like
I thought they got
censored
it-
and shit like that?
Yeah.
I thought they got them sort of the same time as the European market did.
They do,
Maybe,
but
but
unless there's a content restricted version of the game that has to come out because they have extremely strict mature ratings. So over there.
Yep.
So speaking of tire fires that just will not disappear, Anthem's live service producer has left BioWare. Chad
So
Robertson.
basically, this game is dead. When this game came out,
Mhm.
and it was a trash heap. Did I not say it's essentially dead? I said
No, you were right.
And
I was saying it.
it's a wrap. Like they ain't working.
It sure
They ain't
ain't
worried about this game no more.
It sure ain't looking good when the guy who's been with your company for 14 years and was pretty much the dude running the Old Republic the entire time the game came out decided,
Yeah.
He's like, all right,
I'm
I'm
out.
yeah,
And I was
he can't
5,000.
do like
This
this
sucks.
SpongeBob meme. So
This like just for BioWare in general, this whole Anthem debacle has like particularly coming off of Andromeda, like
Yeah.
feels bad.
yeah,
Feels bad looking at them as a developer these days, man. Like they just like it's clear that they do not have the kind of public faith that they did a couple years ago, which is remarkable because they had all of the public faith coming off of Inquisition. Like they dropped Inquisition and everybody was like, this is incredible. Holy shit, I've never played an RPG this good before in my life. And then BioWare was like, how do we fuck this up?
Yeah, they took the Bethesda route. Or did Bethesda take the BioWare
I think
route?
I think Bethesda took the BioWare route.
It's like, I'm a little confused at this point. Because they're both fucking up. But the thing is, like they had when Jason Schreier they call it the BioWare magic, which is crunch. That's what the fuck that is.
Yep.
Like now that's a big thing, and they had to have had crunch for this piece of shit that came out, but it just didn't work. So how great is BioWare really? Now that the curtain's been pulled back. I mean, yeah, they've put out those games and like they made their developers suffer through crunch and everything for like the last 20 years with those games that they've released before. Now that everyone knows what goes on, are they going to take longer for their games to come out so they're quality controlled so they're not going to have any issues like Anthem, or were they really as good as we think they were?
We'll find out in 2 years for sure.
Right. 'Cause I'm curious now. Now that everyone knows how fucked up game development is, I just want to see where the game market goes from now on.
It will be
As
very
far as
interesting.
AAA games are concerned, because these AAA developers are fucking all the way up. Ubisoft is like, you know what? Maybe we should wait a little bit before we release these games because the last couple have been garbage. So I don't know.
And it's funny, like with Ubisoft, right? Like the last two Assassin's Creed games,
Right, they've
were
been really
phenomenal.
good, but they took a year off.
Odyssey, right? They had to retool, and Odyssey is might be the best game they've ever made. And then here comes Breakpoint. Derp, 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 derp. Like
The crazy thing is, Breakpoint came. When did Wildlands come out? That came out like 2.5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So they had plenty of time to work on Breakpoint. When the fuck did they start developing that game? Because that shit just looks awful. Like from the gameplay that I've seen, it looks terrible.
But here's the thing, though. They didn't have a lot of time to work on Breakpoint because there was about 5 years between Future Soldier and Wildlands. 2.5 years for a AAA game. That's actually a pretty aggressive development cycle. in this day and age.
Considering they were constantly releasing the other games, but Assassin's Creed games.
Well, they have multiple studios though.
Yeah, no, they have different studios, but like again, Wildlands, like when I want to know when they just started development for Breakpoint, because it looks like essentially the same engine. Most likely
it is. They probably started development before, like right before Wildlands actually released. But you also have to remember too that they had part of that team. I would assume part of that team working on the additional content that came for Wildlands. Right. Yeah, because they supported that game for a good long time after launch. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's and I think a lot of Breakpoint's problems though too is the structure of the game and like the economy of the game and them really reading the room poorly.
They are illiterate apparently because like you can't just bring out your game with microtransactions that are literally pay to win.
Yep. So
yeah, they
like,
literally
you can literally buy any gun you want. Like, what the fuck is like, yo?
You could buy skill points or something ridiculous. Like
you could at first. You could at first. Yeah, they took that ability away real quick once the Uprising came. So
and you can actually kill the last boss within like the first like hour of the game if you wanted to. You can go right to him, kind of like a what's a Breath of the Wild situation. Mm-hmm. If you can make it to him, you can kill him, which kind of changes the dynamic of the game. Mm-hmm. Because I think the enemy isn't it? What's his name? John Barenthal?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you can kill him in the beginning of the game, and then just like, okay.
Oh, just gear, like said, spend an extra $200, gear up, and storm the compound, I guess. Yeah. Right away. So yeah, but back to Anthem. Yeah, I grow as all these like lead producers and live service managers are leaving the company. My hopes for the game tend to dwindle out. Like, I don't even know if we're going to get
give it up.
Right. I don't even know if we're going to get the Anthem, the Anthem 2.0. They have a Halloween event going on right now, and nobody, I don't even think knows. Yeah, because
wow.
Yeah, apparently. But I don't think anyone even knows or cares right now, especially because again, Destiny's firing on all cylinders, Borderlands is firing on all cylinders, so it's kind of tough to crack the conscience of the gaming public out there. A popular Fortnite streamer, FaZe Jarvis, a YouTuber that has nearly 2 million subscribers, has been permanently banned from playing Fortnite after uploading videos that where he uses cheating software to kill enemies. Basically, aimbot software is what he was using here. He admitted on stream that he was using cheats during his stream. And then he had a teary video where he talked about the ban from the game, where he does come across contrite. I'm still a little skeptical that it's not you're sorry for what you did. You're sorry you got caught doing what you did.
Yep.
Right.
Like, well, here's the thing.
But
like,
it's like
I did it.
Right.
Well, he's not disputing the ban. So here's a quote from him. He says, quote, "Obviously, this is a huge mistake, and it's completely wrong on my end. Genuinely, I don't even know what I was thinking. Cheating at anything is just terrible. I should have paid more attention to the community rules." So,
well, it's like, so the fucking thing about this is like on the stream in which he did it, he's like, oh, I don't want to get banned immediately, so I'm going to play a few legit matches first, and then I'm going to start cheating. Like, he fucking knows. He's not a moron, and he's not like a tiny baby. Like, he's 17. He's old enough to know that what he was doing was wrong, and yet he went and he fucking did it anyway, apparently, quote, for the content. And I'm just like... Good. I'm glad you got fucking banned. I hope you learned a fucking lesson about it. And now you're not going to have the opportunity to do it again. Good. I don't give a fuck about any of these teenage streamers who make thousands of dollars every month playing fucking video games. How about you go to fucking college and put some like real world smarts in your fucking noggin, and maybe you will have some more worldly skills afterwards so that you don't act like an asshole on the internet for money anymore. I don't fucking feel sorry for these kids when they get kicked off their games. I don't. I have no sympathy for them.
All right, boomer.
College ain't cheap, Carrie.
You know what? It's not cheap, but he could probably pay for college with the amount of money that he's making playing Fortnite on the internet.
Not anymore.
You got more money.
Why? I mean, I'm genuinely curious if anyone has a fucking counterpoint. Why should anyone feel sorry for this kid?
Oh, I don't feel sorry for this.
No, nobody should.
Cheat, you cheat, you get banned like for forever. I don't know, but like Yeah, get banned. Fuck you.
Again, to quote great sage on this podcast, Carrie, play bitch games, win bitch prizes.
That's what this is. This is playing bitch games and winning bitch prizes. If this is how Epic handles every other person who plays Fortnite who gets caught using aimbot software and whatnot, why should this guy somehow be fucking exempt from it just because he has a bunch of subscribers? He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
And he wasn't. So I guess I hope his community really liked his channel for him, because that's gonna be put to the test here.
This was the ultimate piece of content.
Right. Got you at ban.
Oh my god.
Dummy.
So finally in news, apparently the Galar region Pokédex has leaked a week and a half ahead of the launch of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Allegedly there's going to be there's going to be 400 total pocket monsters within the Galar region. There's a big chart here in a linked Polygon article that you guys can check out to see which ones are in the game. Carrie, is this something you're going to spoil for yourself? Is the reveal of the Pokemon in the game a big deal in the Pokemon community?
Like it is, particularly like the final evolutions of the 3 starters. I got that spoiled for me on Twitter.
Oh.
But like a big complaint about the lead up to Sun and Moon was that Nintendo wasn't really leaving anything up to surprise, that they were revealing everything ahead of time. They were like, look at all this cool new shit. And then like you play it and like there's no being surprised by any of the new Pokemon. So with this one, they were like a little more reserved, and they weren't releasing the evolutions of the starters, and they weren't releasing all of the new Galarian forms, and they weren't releasing all of the new Galar Pokemon. And I thought that was really cool. And so it kind of sucks that even though this was ostensibly what the community at large wanted, was to be surprised by new things when they play the game for the first time. God, the game comes out in like 2 weeks. Oh fuck. Yeah. All right. I was like, next month. I'm like, just kidding. In like 12 days. So it just like, it sucks that people would have like leaked it anyway. So
that's newsworthy.
Who are you? Who is going to be your starter? I'm usually a fire starter.
I'm usually a water starter person. But I think I'm going to go with Grookey. I've said this before. I like Grookey because when I look at him, I hear the Beastie Boys song "Brass Monkey," except it's Grass Monkey. So I want the Grass Monkey.
When I see Score Bunny, I think of like a little baby Usagi Yojimbo.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Oh my god, he absolutely looks like a tiny Usagi Yojimbo.
So.
And Sobble will be the choice of every depressed millennial. So
if you don't want spoilers on a random Pokemon, skip ahead a minute or 2 minutes just in case, because I want to get Terrence's reaction for this evolution of Pokemon that I see here. Terrence, there is a Pokemon called Applin, which is literally a giant apple with eyes. Now he evolves. I'm not done. He evolves into a Pokemon called Flapple, which looks like a worm inside of an apple, which has like apple peel wings that he flies around with. And the ultimate evolution of the Apple series Pokemon is Appletoon, which is basically a mobile apple pie, essentially. Terrence, what are your thoughts on the Applin evolution series here in Pokemon?
I've never played Pokemon. And that's probably the reason why. Because they just making shit. I mean, yeah, they make shit up because you have to, because there's like 1,000 Pokemon. But like, really?
Like, I don't
an
even
apple so it's a worm that ate its way through an apple, and it's a cross between a butterfly and an apple. Is that what
it's actually kind of cute? Like,
is it?
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm looking at the art. It's actually kind of cute.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's it called? What's the final evolution? I want to see a what is it?
Appleton. TUN.
Larry Appleton.
Oh my god!
Like this evolution, like how do you get from an apple to a dinosaur with an apple pie on its back. Like this evolution doesn't make sense. Like,
with lattice work, no less. Topping it off.
Like some of the evolutions make sense, right? Like the teacup that turns into
a teapot.
A teapot. Like I get it. I don't get the fact that it's an animal that looks like a teacup.
It's actually Ghost Micah. Why don't you put some respect on Sinesti's name? Or Sinesty, I guess it's called.
Yeah, I actually do like a lot of these new things. So
it's fucking stupid. Pokemon is just ridiculous. But look, it's been a thing for like 25 years. Who am I to judge? People love it. I've just never, like, you're a fucking slave master.
I mean,
a cockfighter,
right? Yeah. You just capture these poor animals and then you make them fight each other. They probably don't want to fight each other, but you like beating them. Yeah, well.
So that does it for that does it for the news. The quick news, at least.
What the fuck? Sure. Anyway.
Go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases. When you go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases, we get a little bit of a finder's fee. You don't pay any extra, and you're going to shop there anyway. So when you do, go to www.densepixels.com/Amazon. Do it today. Right now. Right now.
So, all right, let's talk about BlizzCon. So BlizzCon 2019 happened this past weekend. Now look,
it sure did.
We're going to talk about some games here in a second. And make no mistake, those games were a smokescreen cast in front of all of us to avoid the elephant that's in the room. So before we talk about the games,
blew the doors open.
Oh, it did. So before we talk about the games, we are going to cast the requisite amount of scorn onto Blizzard president J. Allen Brack. Now, I have to point out, if you've been listening to the show, we've been covering all the major events that have been happening with this Blizzard situation, which has been ongoing for the past month, the Free Hong Kong movement, all that jazz. There were Free Hong Kong protests, as one expects, outside of the Anaheim Convention Center. And look, I've been to the Anaheim Convention Center. There's a huge courtyard that is in front of the convention center, that where the 4 hotels that are near the convention center all spill into, and that was filled with protests going on for Free Hong Kong movement. So something that you could not avoid, and people protesting against, the punishment levied at Blitzchung for doing what he did on the stream at Blizzard. So one assumes that in the wake of all this going on, and in the wake of your just fucking awful statement that took you 9 days to come up with, and then when it finally did release was one of the most embarrassing pieces of corporate spin that I've ever seen in my entire life, committed to paper, you would think that J. Allen Brack would be laying down on the carpet and really saying I'm sorry and talking about what they did wrong.
Before you continue.
Yes.
I've never seen this man before this weekend. He looks exactly like I thought he would look. I'm just saying. Because I watched his apology, quote unquote, and I'm like, all right, I get it.
So here's some quotes from J. Allen Brack, the opening to his keynote to talk about this controversy. We moved too quickly in our decision, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you. We didn't live up to the high standards we set for ourselves. We failed in our purpose. That was a lot of gobbledygook that J. Allen Brack just kind of threw out there. But Terrence, he goes on. He says, quote, I am sorry, and I accept accountability. What exactly is our purpose? BlizzCon is demonstrating it as we speak. We aspire to bring the world together in epic entertainment. I truly believe in the positive power of video games.
Wow.
Now, I just want to point out, nowhere in this statement did he talk about Blitzchung. Nowhere in this statement.
He did. He said we didn't live. He said we moved too quickly on our decisions. That was him talking about banning Blitzchung for a year.
True.
While not saying his name.
True. So
then they didn't respond.
Yeah.
Quick enough.
I'm sorry.
So they weren't sorry they did it.
I'm sorry, and I accept accountability. How exactly are you accepting accountability, J. Allen Brack?
You didn't.
How? This is to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is one of the most mealy mouth fucking things that I've ever heard from a corporation.
I accept responsibility. I accept accountability, but he's still banned for 6 months.
Yeah,
like
you fired the two the casters, but then you just banned them for 6 months. That nigga didn't even do nothing. They were probably sitting home like, yo, what the fuck did I do?
They were literally like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Blizzcon was like, no, fuck that, yo, this is wrong. It was like, I know it's wrong, but I need a job.
Which, by the way, like, so they did follow up with them with J. Allen Brack to say, hey, are you going to rescind his suspension? And he's like, no, he's still acting inappropriately on the stream.
Right, that's because PC Gamer did an interview with him.
Right.
And they asked him, they were like, so given everything that's going on, are you gonna like rescind his suspension? They're like, nah, fuck that nigga. He's still suspended.
I mean, it's too late, you know.
Yeah.
Once you suspend, you can't renege on a suspension.
No.
Wait, what am I, a renegger? Are you calling me a renegger? I am.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
So
this whole situation is bananas.
I mean,
he was like, I'm sorry. He didn't apologize.
Right.
It's not an apology
No.
at all.
No.
And then he got choked up. I'm like, fuck you.
no, he didn't get choked up. He waited for an applause. That was an applause line,
Right.
Terrence. He
He
waited for an
break.
applause reaction that never came. Eventually, it came.
They were like,
Eventually, it came. So,
are you saying sorry?
if
Everyone was
Diablo
like,
4, everybody. Like,
go on. And you got anything else for us?
like, no.
And they were like, meh, Overwatch 2?
Right. Diablo 4?
So here's kind of my guidelines for corporate apology. So if I were to print out this speech from J. Allen Brack and show it to a layperson who doesn't know jack shit about Blizzard or video games or the Blitzchung situation, and I placed it in their hands and said, can you read this apology and tell me what it is that J. Allen Brack is apologizing for?
Have no idea.
They would not be able to do it because there's no reference to what the actual thing that they did wrong was in this fucking statement. The closest you get is him saying we were too slow to tell you guys what we were going to do about this situation. That's it.
Yeah, they reacted too quickly, and then we didn't give a purpose as to why we reacted too quickly. And you still haven't. Well, we all know why you did it because you're beholden to NetEase or whoever the fuck, Tencent. But that wasn't the reason why they suspended him. It wasn't because of what he said. It was the content of what he said. I mean, it wasn't because he wasn't talking about the game. That's what he said in the PC Gamer review. He was like, no, regardless of what he said, like even if he were talking about, a lot of people brought up the like if he were talking about climate change instead of the game, he still would have been would he still have been suspended, or LGBT rights? Would he still have been suspended if he said something about those two things as opposed to free Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Nah, fuck
Like-
that's
like-
we all know you're lying.
Right.
We're
And
not
it's not even
dumb.
like good lying, dude.
Right.
Like
He's like, no, it doesn't matter what he would have said. It wasn't pertaining to the game. So since it wasn't pertaining to the game, we had to suspend him because
No.
that's bullshit.
Yeah,
So
you're lying.
every
Like, you're fucking
sentence
lying.
you say has to pertain to the game. All right,
No,
all right,
that's
yo,
bullshit.
all right.
So
all
okay.
Right,
It had nothing to do
guess
with
what?
China.
Now they've backed themselves onto that standard. So we're gonna see what happens the next time.
Right. I'm waiting for somebody to say something that isn't like that divisive when it comes to like anything to do with China. Like something everyone likes, but doesn't have to do with the game. What are they gonna do? They're gonna suspend them for 6 months? A week at all? Because that's the precedent you set when you suspend him for just saying free Hong Kong. and then fired, and niggas just sat there and watched him say it. That's the part that's crazy. Like the fact, okay, they suspended him because he signed a contract or whatever, but the casters, like, I didn't do anything. But then they were like, well, their job is to keep everything pertaining to the game, and they failed to do that. That's what he said. They failed to make whatever the what they were saying pertain to the game, so they fired him. I'm like, okay, that's also bullshit, but that's cool.
It is a pathetic response. Pathetic is the only adjective that I can think of to correctly describe what that response was. But here's the thing, and we all knew this shit was going to happen. We told you in advance this was going to happen because we're cynical fucks that knows how the world works. They're going to get this shit out of the way first, and then they're going to throw all the presents at everybody and be like, forget about all this shit. We got Diablo 4. We got Overwatch 2. We got the new World of Warcraft expansion. We got a Hearthstone auto battler coming out.
Like an absentee father coming in to try to win their child's affection. Oh well, me and your mother, we got our issues, but here's Altered Beast, here's a Brack, here's a Genesis, here's a Super Nintendo. Like, all right, and your stupid kid brain is like, oh yay, Dad loves me. Like,
yep.
I said Altered Beast. Jesus. That may or may not be true.
So like I said, Blizzard should not be let off the hook for this.
No.
I don't think they
and
are.
The
yet.
thing is, people really haven't been. Like, I think a lot of people are seeing the game's announcements that aren't Diablo 4 or Shadowlands as sort of what they are, which is a fucking smokescreen. Like,
and Diablo 4 has no release date.
Oh,
it's coming out for like 2 years.
Neither does Overwatch 2. They asked Jeff Kaplan, like, when is Overwatch 2 going to come out? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and like that's what really points to the Overwatch 2 announcement being a fucking sort of last minute,
right.
Like, whoa, we got to get something out. That and the fucking the new hero that they announced at the convention, which a lot of people are fucking upset about. Sojourn. That someone was pretty quick to point out, I forget who, there was a good Twitter thread. So if you can find it, credit to whoever put it together, that like they almost always have had like an official cosplayer come out and help debut the character. And when Sojourn was announced, they didn't have that, which meant that the opportunity for like a Black female cosplayer to have sort of like a time in the spotlight was therefore wasted. People are not really happy about the character's name because she's fucking named after a slave.
Sojourn the Truth? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn.
Yeah.
They had just toned
hit the fucking name on the head, man. Like,
yeah.
goddamn, yo.
Not great. Yeah.
Is there at least an animated, like, did they have like an animated feature for it? Or did they just announce it? God.
I think they just announced the character.
Yeah, that was really like, yo, we got to throw something in.
Yeah, very, very much like, oh, what do we have sort of in the works that we haven't done? The Black woman, put the Black woman out, put her out. That's what it feels like,
right? Like Diablo 4, I can imagine was planned from last year when the whole Diablo Immortal fiasco happened. Like that's not a surprise. But yeah,
and the thing is, like, we've known for a while that they've been working on Diablo 4,
right?
And sure, we've sort of known that they've been working on more Overwatch stuff, but the fact that you've only got like updated models for a half dozen characters and no even release window in mind. The Overwatch stuff very much felt like, hey, look at these shiny things over here. I'm going to dangle my keys over here so you don't see what I'm doing over here. Look at this fun stuff. You like Overwatch, right? You'll give us more money, right? You'll stop being mad at us, right?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
And again, Games Press, I think, did a pretty good job for at least acknowledging what this was. Like, they have to cover the games because that's why people are coming and clicking on the website and clicking on the video. So they can't just ignore it. But there was enough pieces I saw out there that was like calling Blizzard out, rightfully so. And again, they do not continue to let them off the hook for this. I mean, they deserve to hear it while Blizzchung is suspended. And beyond that
You
as
got
well.
another
to
5
hold him
months,
top.
right?
Yeah, we do have another 5 months left to go before he is back in the Hearthstone grind, if he even comes back. Honestly.
Right. That's what.
So,
If I were him, I'm like, fuck you.
right.
Like, for real. Like, you. All right, fine. I'll go somewhere else.
And again, like the thing that really sticks in my craw, and we'll move on to the games after this. One of the refrains that I absolutely, positively cannot stand thrown at athletes or people that aren't that choose to use the platform that's given to them by their talents and their abilities to advocate for certain things is stick to sports. I hate fucking hearing stick to sports, because that just means I don't want my I don't want to be bothered by your politics, essentially, when I just want you to play the fun game. And look, we talked about the Kurt Suzuki situation earlier, and Carrie fucking ranted and raved about Kurt Suzuki. But you know what she didn't say to Kurt Suzuki? Stick to sports.
Right.
Because
I would never tell any guy to do that, because at the same time, much as I am upset about what Kurt Suzuki did today, because I think it makes him look like a fucking clown, and I think it reflects poorly on the organization. At the same time, a lot of people have been giving Sean Doolittle shit for going to the Post and saying, hey, I'm not going to the White House because I don't fucking like the guy in the White House, because my beliefs don't line up with his. I do too much for the LGBT community to go to the White House while that guy is in office. And, it would be completely hypocritical of me to praise one side of this while saying the other side shouldn't do it. I don't think anyone should have to stick to sports, so to speak, much as I may not always agree with what they are choosing to stick with in lieu of sports.
And that's usually levered toward black players, majority of the time. So
Yeah.
That's also a thing.
But yeah, I mean, Doolittle got a heap of it this week after that piece came out in the paper. I think everyone should stand Sean Doolittle. He's a good dude.
Yeah, fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, fuck Donald Trump,
Just
man.
essentially, like, I hope he gets hit by a bus.
Yep.
I know this is going through it over the airways. I didn't
Look.
If someone's driving a bus and he just happened to get hit by it, whatever. I hate that nigga. Yeah. Can't stand it. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. This is our show. We can talk about politics. Fuck you. We got another one on the network. What's it called?
Look forward.
$5 a month. That was just great. Anyway, continue.
So like I said, we got to talk about the games. Diablo 4 probably was the most news people were most excited for. This is coming out sometime. Some of the things.
No date.
Right, that's literally what it said. Apparently, the main villain in the game is going to be Lilith, who in Diablo lore is the mother of the Nephilim. The Nephilim being the playable hero that you played as in Diablo 3. And it's really the Nephilim people, not that specific character in general. So like basically, she was a demon from hell, and she got it on with this dude from heaven, and they made sanctuary where all the humans lived. And they were basically like the Adam and Eve of the Diablo universe. But she's back. She's apparently the big bad in this one. There's a 9-minute trailer done in the Blizzard style, which looks fucking amazing. That's really cool looking, that you should check out for sure. So the other things in the game, there's going to be PvP areas in the game, something that they teased for a while for Diablo 3 that never really came off that bad. It is coming on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and I would assume PS5 and whatever the next box is as well, considering that it's not going to be out for a little bit while. They showed off the Mage, Druid, and Barbarian classes in the gameplay demo that they put out. There are mounts in the game. It looks like there's leveled terrain in the game. The art style looks a little bit less cartoony. There's going to be what amounts to exotic loot in the game for the first time. There's going to be loot that basically has 4 legendary passive traits on it that you can get. That's extremely rare, that you can only have one thing equipped of it at a time, essentially. So that can kind of be what you build tailor your builds around as you get that. And apparently, Terrence, they're also putting set loot on the same equivalency scale and power as like legendary loot. So now set loot won't overpower legendaries as well. So, like I said, looks cool. They had more there than I thought they would show off for this game, considering it's barely not coming out for a couple years anyway. But yeah, Diablo 4 is coming. Terrence, you are the biggest Diablo fan on this podcast. What were your thoughts over what you saw this weekend?
It goes back to, like, I'd never played a lot of Diablo 2, but it has that style. It's a lot darker. It's not as vibrant as Diablo 3 is. I just downloaded damn, what the hell is that game called? It just came out last month or 2 months ago. Torchlight 2, yeah. Yesterday I was playing that. This looks far different than Torchlight. It looks great, like the actual gameplay. Of course, since it's I think this is probably going to be next gen.
They said it's coming out on PS4 and Xbox One as well. So
it is. Oh, okay. It looks great. Like, I want to play it. I can't wait for it to come out. But fuck Blizzard. You know, like I'm fit. Look, y'all know me. I won't buy this shit at a spike. I'm dead ass. It looks great. Like, look, it's just like 3 years away, so I might forget what they've done. So by then, I'm not
right.
gonna lie.
How the hell are they gonna be like, hey, sorry about all that stuff that might have happened or you might have heard. I don't know, but Diablo 4, yay!
Wow.
You can't play it for another 3 years,
Like 2.5 years. So
all right, yo.
Yeah,
all right,
fuck you. But no, it looks great. Like, I love these types of games. I've played a lot of them. I just want to see more gameplay.
All right.
Which I don't know when the fuck that's coming.
Next BlizzCon. You won't see anything for 1 year
from now.
They also showed off a CGI trailer for the next World of Warcraft expansion, which is called Shadowlands. Yeah, I mean, we would be sounding very stupid talking about World of Warcraft. It's coming out sometime in 2020. It will have raid content at launch. So that's cool if you're a big WoW fan. What else we got here? You also have coming it's basically the new season of Hearthstone was announced. It is called Descent of Dragons, which is coming out soon. It's going to have a new game mode called Battlegrounds, which they said is inspired by games like Dota Auto Chess and Underlords and League of Legends Teamfight Tactics. It's basically an auto battler, essentially, in Hearthstone. So that's coming there. And then the big one that they, like I said, pulled out of their hat just to fucking like cast its version was Overwatch 2. Apparently, like Carrie said, all of the characters are supposed to get a new look. They only showed off the first 6 in this trailer here. There will be PvE in the game. Apparently, all of your cosmetic unlocks will carry forward into Overwatch 2 as well. So I guess that's one way to kind of mitigate a lot of the scorn for microtransactions that you would get. And no one knows when that's coming out.
Yeah. So 2 games we have no clue when their release dates are. And a bunch of other games that I just don't have any desire to play at all. And I didn't appreciate the slander that you guys put upon Overwatch last week. It's a fine game.
Sure it
it's
is.
a fine game.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
They sure do.
I like Overwatch.
They sure
I haven't played
do.
it in a while, but like it's a fun game.
Are you excited with what you've learned about Overwatch 2 then, Terrence?
I didn't pay attention.
Fair enough.
Because
Terrence did not reward Blizzard's bad behavior with his clicks.
I did. You're correct.
What a stand-up guy you are. So yeah, that was BlizzCon. At least I guess at least they didn't have men asking if their Diablo announcement was an April Fool's joke that was out of season this year.
Yo, that's too good.
There was
they did have a bunch of fucking protesters.
There's apparently an 8-year-old like heckling them, like yelling "Free Hong Kong" during a panel.
Free Hong Kong. The guy was like, "Sounds good to me."
Wonder if he'll get suspended for 6 months. We'll see.
Oh man, like you knew it was coming. You just had to let it rock. Like, what are you gonna do? Throw everybody out? Like, you couldn't. You just got to let it rock. Y'all fucked up.
Yep.
I thought it was funny. At least he was cool about it.
So,
but,
yeah, and that's the only downside for them. Like, all these games are coming out so far away that they can't truly use it as a distraction because the Hong Kong shit's gonna persist and continue onward.
Like, this dude is still suspended. You're still fucking beholden to China. because of the company that you're with.
Yep.
So and people are gonna start fucking with you just to see. Like you start holding more. I would. You start holding more fucking tournaments. I'll just say some wild shit. Like, for real, babe.
I mean, why not?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and apparently, and I one more bit of Overwatch news. So apparently, and we'll wrap it up with this. To Overwatch 1, they're adding a feature that people have been asking for. So apparently, if you are in like the role specific queue for a match, while you're waiting, you'll actually be able to go into like this team deathmatch mode. That to kill time while you wait to queue up, because apparently some roles like attacker, especially any DPS role, like you can be sitting in queue for like 12 minutes before you actually find a match oftentimes. So apparently they're going to give you something to do in the meantime, which is good, because sitting in a queue, as I can tell you from Destiny 2, not fun. Not fun when you're trying to get a solo comp match to get that revoker, which I did. So that's gonna be it for this week's episode. No question of the week this week, but normally we do post it. You can answer that question in our fan group, densepixels.com/fans. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to the show on whatever app you use to play your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow Terrence on Twitch, Apparition410. Follow Carrie on Twitch, Sup It's Carrie. Look out for that extra live stream next Sunday.
Yeah, and also this weekend, Friday, is the Baltimore Gamer Symphony Orchestra show. It is a free show, 7:30 p.m. I've got a couple different arrangements that I did being performed, so it's going to be a super good time. So if you're in the greater Baltimore area, get your ass there.
Very good. And I stream occasionally, not very often, but occasionally. But when I do, it's on our YouTube channel. So again, that's youtube.com/densepixels. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening this week. We will talk to you all the next time.
Thanks.
See ya.
Take it easy.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.